You are at the supermarket, trolley full. You've done the shopping, you've survived the cereal aisle. You've made approximately 47 micro-decisions about which pasta sauce to buy, and now you are ready to leave. You walk up to the checkout area and you scan the lines. 3 registers open. You do your quick mental calculation: number of people, size of their trolleys, whether the cashier looks fast or like they're working their first ever shift, and you pick your line, you commit. And then it happens. The line next to you moves. The one you didn't pick, someone who arrived after you, is already unloading their trolley. The cashier beside you seems to be personally investigating every single item before scanning it. The person in front of you just remembered they have coupons from 2019, and you stand there, knuckles tightening on your trolley handle, watching the other line flow like a beautiful river while yours has completely stopped existing in time. You think, why does this always happen to me? Here is the answer. It doesn't. You just think it does. And the reason why reveals something deeply strange and honestly a little unsettling about how your brain actually works. The math nobody wants to hear. Let's start with pure, cold mathematics. Say there are 3 checkout lines. You pick one. That means there are 2 lines you didn't pick. So at any given moment, statistically speaking, there is a 2 in 3 chance that another line is moving faster than yours. That is not bad luck. That is not the universe punishing you. That is just arithmetic. Most of the time, you are supposed to be in the slower line, because there are more other lines than there are your lines. But here is what makes it feel so personal. Your brain isn't tracking the times you chose correctly. It isn't logging every moment your line moved smoothly, every checkout where you sailed through without incident. Those moments disappear into the background noise of a perfectly ordinary day. But the moment you are stuck, the moment the line beside you surges forward while yours stalls, your brain lights up. It tags that moment, stores it, adds it to a growing mental highlight reel of every time life has specifically, deliberately, chosen to inconvenience you. Psychologists call this negativity bias. Bad experiences don't just feel worse, they actually register more deeply in your memory than good ones. Your brain is literally wired to remember frustration more vividly than ease. You've stood in hundreds of checkout lines. Your brain kept receipts for exactly the wrong ones. The psychology of watching, but the math only explains part of it. Because this feeling isn't just about which line is objectively faster, it is about watching. Here is something fascinating. Researchers who study queuing behavior, and yes, there are actual scientists who dedicate their careers to the psychology of waiting in lines, have found something extraordinary. When you are moving, even slowly, time feels normal. When you are stopped and watching others move, time distorts completely. A line that takes 4 minutes but keeps moving consistently will feel shorter than a line that takes 3 minutes but stops twice. Even though the second line is objectively faster, the stopping, the watching, the helplessness of standing still while the world moves around you makes it feel like an eternity. Your brain doesn't measure waiting time in minutes. It measures it in perceived loss of progress. And nothing triggers that feeling harder than watching the person who arrived after you walk out the door before you. That is not inconvenience anymore. That is your brain reading it as being overtaken. And humans, competitive, social status-aware humans, are wired to feel that in their chest. The grass is always greener effect. Now here is the layer that will genuinely make you laugh at yourself. Even when you switch lines, it gets worse. Studies on queue switching behavior show that people who change lines based on which looks faster almost always end up feeling like they made the wrong decision again. Not because they did, but because of something called the grass is always greener effect applied to queuing. The moment you leave your original line, your brain does something cruel. It starts rooting for your old line to fail. Not consciously, but you keep glancing back. And here is the thing: the moment your old line moves, even slightly, even just one person forward, your brain registers it as confirmation that you made the wrong call. Meanwhile, any slowdown in your new line gets triple the attention it deserves because you chose this line. You made an active decision, which means if it goes wrong, it isn't bad luck anymore. It is your fault. Psychologists call this post-decision regret amplification. The act of choosing makes you more emotionally invested in the outcome and more sensitive to any sign that you chose wrong. You weren't just picking a checkout line. Your brain turned it into a referendum on your judgment. The twist here is the part that supermarkets actually know and use against you. Many major retailers have moved toward the single serpentine queue model. One line, multiple registers, next available cashier takes the next customer. Banks do it. Airlines do it. Fast food chains do it. And studies consistently show that people report feeling less frustrated in serpentine queues even when the total wait time is identical to a multi-line system. Why? Because nobody overtakes you. Nobody who arrived after you leaves before you. The system feels fair. Your frustration at checkout lines was never really about the time. It was about fairness, control, and the feeling of being left behind. The supermarkets that still use individual registers, they're essentially charging you invisible psychological tax every single visit, and you pay it willingly because the alternative requires rethinking the whole floor plan. So the next time you are standing in that checkout line, watching the one beside you move like it has been personally blessed, just remember what is actually happening. Your brain is running a highlights reel of every bad queue experience you've ever had. It is measuring time in feelings, not minutes. It is treating a grocery run like a competition. And it is convincing you, with complete confidence, that the universe has singled you out for mild inconvenience. It hasn't. You are just human, impatient, competitive, loss-averse, and absolutely terrible at waiting. Which, to be fair, is what makes us fascinating. Now put the coupons away. The cashier is ready for you.